Welcome back for another edition of Safe and Sound. I'm your host, Doug Bolnick, from the St. Charles County Department of Community Health and the Environment. On today's program, we're looking closer into organizations that help us in times of crisis. I'll visit with Dana Puckett from St. Charles County Citizen Corps Council, who will let us know the roles that volunteers play in disaster response efforts. Then, we'll learn about alerts and applications that we can receive on our smartphones that help us know about emergency weather warnings in the area. After that, we'll see how the CrimeStoppers program aids law enforcement in protecting our families, and visit with Steve Brown from Central County Fire and Rescue to prevent electrical fires from ruining our homes and businesses. Finally, we'll join a CPR certification class to learn the proper way to help someone who stopped breathing. But first, there's a place here in St. Charles County that coordinates activities involving various agencies that respond to severe weather, fire, and other widespread events. Let's hear from our county's Emergency Operations Center staff.
The EOC is the Emergency Operations Center maintained by St. Charles County Division of Emergency Management, which is the nerve center for disaster preparedness for the county. We work with the citizens of St. Charles County, any cities within St. Charles County, neighboring jurisdictions, state and federal agencies during local and federal emergencies. The Emergency Operations Center maintains and collects data so we can provide a clear, concise picture to the county executive so he can draw a quick conclusion as to what's going on within the county. We also are able to do cable broadcast interruptions, and we maintain the outdoor warning system to be able to provide warnings and public information to all the county residents. With the Emergency Operations Center being the nerve center of everything for disaster preparedness, individuals from different departments and agencies would come in. We would have the health department, EMS, fire. Sometimes we have state and federal agencies come in, and they man the phones and they have the computers here so they can access their data, their information. We also have a smart board, which we recently acquired to help us with managing disaster preparedness and being able to get information correlated and gathered more quickly. Within the Emergency Operations Center, we have a communications room which houses multiple radios to be able to talk to many different jurisdictions, police, fire, EMS. We have the warning siren controls back in that room also. We also have several maps. We have one map that is all of the sirens located within St. Charles County, and they are numbered and colored by where they're located. We have floodplain maps that show us elevations for where water would breach first at certain levels, because we call the different levee districts and let them know what the levels are rising to so they know when to start getting prepared and start, get ready to start sandbagging. We also maintain a room here in the back for briefing for the county executive so he can bring in mayors from other jurisdictions and federal agencies so they can manage the disaster at their level. One unique feature about the St. Charles County Emergency Management is that we never close. We answer our phones 24/7. We have a duty officer on call. If you're interested in finding out more information on emergency preparedness or have any questions, you can visit our website at www.sccmo.org.
Thank you for the behind-the-scenes look at emergency response coordination. Volunteers are also active whenever these emergency events occur. Dana Puckett from St. Charles County Citizen Corps Council and the Weldon Springs CERT Unit will tell us how they help. Dana, welcome to Safe and Sound.
Thank you for having me.
Could you tell us what volunteers can do in an emergency?
Volunteers are very important in an emergency. They can range from information pushers to actually have their boots on the ground. For example, last May we had a tornado and we also had a flood at the same time. So they were calling for sandbaggers, which is physical labor, of course. And as far as the tornado, we had people that walked around with information sheets that had phone numbers on there that people could get help from. And sometimes they just like to see us in the community, people do, so that way they know that people are out there when they need us.
And I mentioned that you're the head of the St. Charles County Citizen Corps Council. What exactly is that and who's participating in it?
The Citizen Corps for St. Charles County, what we do is our mission is to come together and prepare and train people and educate normal citizens, your average Joe, in order to take care of themselves first, their family second, and then be able to volunteer actively in our community in a time of a crisis.
And you're also involved with the CERT group. Could you tell us what CERT is?
Yes, CERT is a community emergency response team, and it was formed in the 80s, the early 80s in California, And what we do is we organize and we go through at least 20 hours of training, such as search and rescue, and we also do medical operations and organization and ICS, and that way we know how we can work in a big disaster emergency to help the first responders whenever we need to come together and they are taxed and they need extra help. We work with firemen, the policemen, we work with whoever needs us to help.
And obviously we're just doing a real quick overview of these very important groups. If somebody wanted more information, where could they go? They
could go to FEMA.org, and there is a list of all of our CERT teams. We have 9 registered in the county with Citizen Corps, and they can join and find out how to get more information there.
Thanks again, Dana.
Thank you, Doug.
Please stay tuned after this short break, where we'll learn other ways the community helps protect your family from harm.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams?
Here.
Michael Adams.
Michael Adams.
Students who miss 18 days of school in any grade risk falling behind and not graduating. Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Call this free government program for the option that's right for you.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to this edition of Safe and Sound, where we're learning ways that our community comes together to protect us. In our next segment, we'll learn about alerts and applications that can be sent directly to us whenever weather alerts or widespread emergencies occur.
In addition to broadcast media alerts, NOAA weather radio alerts, warning sirens, people now have a multitude of applications that they can choose from to receive alerts directly to their cell phones. Some of the alerts are free and you don't have to sign up for them. What we recommend that people do is check with their cell phone provider and verify that their provider does forward these alerts from government agencies to cell phones and make sure that they have a model that can receive them. Some of these apps that you can download are free, others are not. We recommend that you take a look when you're shopping for apps, make sure that you take note of which ones are free, which ones aren't, which ones offer email or text alerting to cell phones, which ones offer both or maybe one or the other, so that you can make a selection that best suits your needs. The important thing for us that we want to emphasize is that you make sure that you have more than one source for getting emergency alerts. These apps can provide notifications to residents about national emergencies, amber alerts, weather emergencies, or other local emergencies that are affecting their specific areas that they live or work in. One good place to go to help people decide which app might suit them best is a website called www.weather/subscribe. That site has a list of all different types of apps, a little bit of information about each one, the services they offer, whether they're free or not, and also links to go to get more details about each individual application.
Thanks for offering these suggestions. Everyone should sign up to receive these alerts as soon as possible. CrimeStoppers is a way that members of our community can alert law enforcement to the possible problems in their neighborhood. Lisa Pashada will visit with me to explain this program. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
What is the purpose of CrimeStoppers and who can participate?
Anyone can participate in CrimeStoppers. CrimeStoppers is a non-for-profit program and it is a tip hotline that takes information from anyone, from anywhere, and delivers it to the area police departments completely anonymously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And what kind of crimes does the program target?
We target all felony and Part 1 crimes.
If you do call, what kind of information is the police department looking for, and is your name anonymous?
Well, CrimeStoppers takes the information and delivers it to the police departments, but we have a list of probably over 1,000 questions. You can see them on our website, or we will ask them, depending on what crime it is. So if it's a homicide, we're going to ask information that's geared towards homicides and what homicide detectives would ask you. If it's a burglary, the same thing. We would gear our questions towards burglary or assault.
So if you're giving this information, is it anonymous?
CrimeStoppers is completely anonymous. The program's been worldwide for over 35 years, and we've never taken anyone's name, phone number, email address. Everything that comes into us is either wiped from an email or a text perspective, or our phone lines are completely free of any caller ID. Even our phone bills have no phone numbers on them, so we can never know who you are. Callers will get a number or a code number that they can call back and forth. It's up to the caller to return our call, or return the call, so that they can find out what happened to the tip.
So if someone's tips leads to arrest, what's next?
If the caller's tip leads to an arrest and they call back to check on it, we will in turn, we will actually send that information to our board, who votes on the amount of money that's given to the caller. It's a certain amount dollar-wise per how many charges there were, how many people were arrested at the time, if there's any property, dope, gun seized, car seized, things like that. It all adds up. We give from $100 to $1,000 to callers whose information leads to an arrest. And if someone's call and information leads to a homicide closure and arrest, we will give them a flat $2,000. It's also completely anonymous. We never know you when you pick your money up. We never see you, and it's kind of like it's super secret. You know, if I tell you, I have to. We don't tell people how they get the money unless you're going to get the money.
And you mentioned the website. Is that the best way to get information?
Well, there's 4 different ways you can get information to CrimeStoppers. You can text it, you can go on our website, you can call us, of course, at the 866-371-TIPS line, and there's also an app on any phone, and the app's called Tip Submit.
Thanks so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll have more ways that our community comes together to help us in times of need after this break. Stay tuned.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Hey everybody! Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change. Let's go!
To the Batmobile! Dang it.
To the invisible jet!
Dang it.
Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women. I could use your help. Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
It's harder whenever there's a bigger group. Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Welcome back to Safe and Sound. I'm your host, Doug Bolnick. On today's episode, we're learning ways that various members of our community help out in emergencies. Faulty extension cords, bad outlets, and malfunctioning machines are just a few of the ways that electrical fires can ruin our homes and businesses. To discover ways to prevent these fires, we'll now visit with Assistant Chief Steve Brown from Central County Fire and Rescue. Steve, thank you so much for coming in today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Doug.
How common are house fires related to electrical malfunction?
Actually, it's a very common cause of fire. It's one of the most common in our homes.
People obviously should call 911 immediately whenever there's a fire, but what else could they personally do until the fire trucks arrive?
Well, until the fire trucks arrive, you definitely want to evacuate the home. Leave the house, wait outside, make sure everybody's accounted for, and that way when the first arriving apparatus gets there, they can let the officer know that everybody's safe and sound.
And obviously the best way to stop a fire is to prevent it before it occurs. What are some simple tips that people do to prevent electrical fires?
One of the easy ways to prevent an electrical fire is to not overload the outlets and make sure that you're not using anything that is in poor condition. Right now with the home heating fires and getting into cold weather, some people are using space heaters and other devices to heat their homes auxiliary-wise. We just want to make sure that those appliances are in good working order. If the appliance is giving you any sign or symptom that it's not working properly, if it's making a loud noise, if it's putting off an odor, those are appliances that are ready to fail, and if they do fail, they could cause a fire.
So obviously if it's a big fire, we're going to call 911, but if it's a smaller fire, is there something people could do to help put those out before we need to go to a bigger problem?
Sure. Just removing the oxygen or suffocating the fire is the easiest way, and using an ABC type fire extinguisher will do that. Another way is just to cover the fire, the item up or cut off the oxygen to it.
So if someone was wanting more information on electrical fires, where could they find some?
Well, they can go to our website at centralcountyfire.org. We have lots of helpful information on how to prevent electrical fires and other common types of fires in your home.
Well, thanks so much, Steve, for this great information.
Thanks, Doug.
In addition to knowing what to do when a fire occurs, it's also helpful to know how to react when injuries occur or when someone stops breathing. St. Charles County nurses teach CPR certification and basic first aid. Let's hear what's covered in these sessions.
CPR is an important skill for everyone to learn. It empowers you if there a situation arises where somebody stops breathing or their heart stops. It empowers you to be able to act quickly and be able to help them. CPR can be used, also first aid, we do that. So first aid, if something were to happen, especially for children younger than age 5, they put things in their mouth, can lead to choking. So for parents, it's very beneficial for them to learn CPR. Some of the signs that someone may need CPR include breathing, having breathing issues. They may turn blue. They may show the choking signs. They may be choking on an object. Their heart may stop. They may just fall over. Just the typical signs of distress in an individual. In CPR, there are a couple different steps. First, you would want to make sure that wherever you are, that the scene is safe before you approach that victim. Then you would want to go and see if the victim is responsive. So you can either tap them on the shoulder, say, hey, are you okay? And then you would want to see if they're breathing. So you would tilt their head, listen for breathing for about 10 seconds, and then if you don't hear any breathing, then you'd want to immediately go and do 30 chest compressions. After those 30 chest compressions, then you would immediately do 2 rescue breaths and then just continue the cycle. 30 compressions, 2 rescue breaths. The CPR that we teach, we also go over first aid, and we also do AED, which is the automatic external defibrillator. We go over how to use that, and then first aid, we go over the basic first aid, like controlling bleeding, head, neck, spinal injuries,
breathing emergencies like choking, and then if you have an injured body part, how to splint it, some of those things, so basic first aid. Once an individual successfully completes the class, they become CPR, AED, and First Aid certified through the Red Cross. They are certified for 2 years. They get a wallet-size certification, and then also like a bigger size that they can keep in their records. And then they would just need to get recertified every 2 years. We teach the CPR classes here. We teach them about every 2 months or as needed. We do teach them here at the St. Charles County Health Department in the main conference room. We typically do those on Thursdays, and we also do them a couple Saturdays a year. If you'd like to learn more about CPR or like to take a class, feel free to check our calendar on the website, or you can also give us a call at 636-949-1857.
Thanks for those life-saving tips. I hope the information we've discussed today gives you a better understanding of the various ways that organizations come together to help out in times of need. Please join us next time to learn new ways to help keep your family safe and sound.